Boneddigion, croeso cynnes i chi gyd I lolfa Cwnel yma ym Mharc y Scarlets. Heno, mae ar gyfer y diweddariad Gefnogwyr y Scarlets. Croeso cynnes i chi gyd, ladies and gentlemen. Very warm welcome to the Emerge Group Cwnel Lounge. For the summer 2024, it's the Supporters Updates Club President, Derek Cwnel.
It's always nice to have applause before you start. What a great time of the season. We haven't played a game yet, so things are wonderful in the camp. We're all okay. And looking at the squad that we've got assembled at the moment, there's a lot of young talent there. And I hope that that young talent will develop in the same way as the talent in the late 60s and early 70s developed in Straddy Park. And that they will make the memories here at Parc y Scarlets as fond as the ones that we had in Straddy Park, and as fond as the supporters enjoyed looking back. And when you talk about that game in 72, I have spoken to many thousands of people. The ground only held 22,000 people, and that was the big standing area as well. But I've spoken to at least 35,000 people who actually went to the game that day. But they were great memories, and I had some great memories of playing for the Scarlets, and I hope that this group are going to come together. We must, at this stage, thank the players that for many years have been the backbone of the Scarlets as well. Have retired because of injury or retired because age has caught up with them, and we've now got to the stage where with the monetary situation as it is, we've had to rely on the young players coming through, and they have. And I'm very hopeful that during this campaign we're going to have hopefully a good start of the season, and we can kick on, and the young guys are going to do something special which will help us all turn up and watch and support the guys here at Parc y Scarlets as they did in Straddy Park many years ago. And it's very important that you understand what the players feel about the support that you give them, because it is hugely important that they produce the goods on the park and you applaud them for doing it. But there are times when it's a bit tough, where we've got to carry them along a little bit. And we're all part of it. We're all part of the same team. You're part of the same team as the players are, and the coaching staff and the staff here at Parc y Scarlets. So we're looking forward to a good start and kick on from there. So let's hope that we all thoroughly enjoy the season, and it's great to sit here and see so many people coming along just out of interest of what's going to happen in the coming 9 or 10 months. So let's hope that we thoroughly enjoy it. Diolch yn fawr.
Okay, diolch Eric.
I think it is important that you get an update on what's been going on in the last few months, especially since our last Q&A session with you. We said then we would communicate more with you, that you deserved that, and that was going to be a commitment of ours. Since that time, it hasn't been easy. Thankfully on the field, results picked up and improved, but for us off the field, we've continued to have challenges. We were faced a couple of months ago with a change in our funding. So funding was committed, an amount was committed, and also the timing of it was committed, and for various reasons I don't want to go into again, but it did mean that we were faced with significant challenges again. And unfortunately, as a result, some people in the non-rugby side, as part of a restructure, had to leave the club. So very difficult times, very difficult decisions, but we felt at the time as well that we just had to maintain as much investment into the rugby, as the rugby, as we all know, has suffered significant cost cuts for a couple of years now. We felt it was important to have as competitive a side as possible for the club, for us, for you, for everybody. And the reality is, if we can't compete on the field, then whatever we do off the field is almost impossible anyway. So, we lost some good people at that time. Thankfully, we still have a small team, a small, committed and dedicated team that have really worked hard and pulled together during those times. We will have to focus on the things that add value to the club, and that means not only financial, but we will focus on the things that you value most as well. And we will do a good job of those. But I'm delighted to say that we now have a front of shirt sponsor, which has delayed the production of the kit. But we do aim to launch the kit before the Tigers game. And we're fighting as hard as we can to have some shirts in retail to be purchased at that time as well. But as I said, because of the delays, that's going to be a challenge for us. We're up to about 90% of our season membership budget, which is good. We've got a bit more to go, obviously. We'd like to get past budget and get into upside. And if any of you, I'd ask for your help. If any of you are aware of people that maybe are 50-50, haven't renewed yet, or they're considering it but haven't, please give them a nudge and get them over the line, because it's not only the revenue that is generated through the season memberships, but it's also just getting as many people here as we can to, as Derek said, to get behind the boys and give them that little extra support, that little 1 or 2% to get them over the line in those tough games. They've held numerous camps. They've delivered to thousands of kids right across our region. Up to the Royal Welsh Show, Pembrokeshire Show, holding camps out in Lampeter. Anybody, if you don't follow the foundation on social media, please do, because it's fantastic what they do for our community and on our behalf. I mentioned earlier that we had made a commitment to communicate more with you. Obviously, we had the Q&A session back in April. Since then, we've put out weekly emails, newsletters. So if anybody would like to receive those emails, but you don't currently, please give us your details before you go tonight, because you get updates there, everything from the team to the business to the community work, and it's all there. And also on weeks before games, you'll get an email with a link to your digital program as well. And it's been great, really, to hear some of the constructive suggestions from people, but also when I've explained why perhaps certain things, certain decisions are taken, it's been great the way people have appreciated and responded positively to that as well. You'll remember there was a video update from the club that we'll continue to do periodically as well, and from next month we'll be putting out a monthly business update by email again. So as I said, the email address is critical to us. My last point is we all know we had a tough year last year, but it's the support of people like yourselves, the sponsors community that we have, that really keeps us going and drives us forward to want to be the best version of ourselves that we can be on behalf of you and on behalf of our community. So I really can't overstate how grateful we are and how thankful we are for your continued support, and we will work tirelessly to deliver everything we can on your behalf. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch, John.
From my perspective, there's a lot of planning that's gone in over the last couple of months. I know we spoke last time we were in this room around our leadership group and developing leaders and the young leadership group who have to take over from some of the club legends, in all honesty, like Sir Ken, John, Scotty, etc. So that's been work in progress in the background, and there's a lot of work. And to be fair, I think that the guys who have really stepped up in that area and trying to drive accountability on them, and that's been good. But in terms of the general feeling around the group, obviously it's a fresh group. There's a lot of fresh faces here. There's a lot of young talent coming through as well. So it feels very different in terms of personnel. And also with younger guys, I think you get a bit of that hunger. You get a bit of, you accept sometimes that they're still learning, but they're enthusiastic. And what we have had over the last couple of weeks is a real bite to our training, and they've worked really hard. From last year, where we had 3-4 months of pre-season because of the World Cup, it's very condensed this year, so we haven't really had time to. We've hit the ground running, and they've really stepped up to the plate. We've had external guys in, like Chris Rees, for example, who's a wrestling coach from Llansamlet. He's been in working them hard on a Tuesday, that contact collision type work. We've put a big emphasis on our forward pack and fitness of a forward pack, conditioning of a forward pack. We've recruited heavily in that area, and we knew we had to do that over the last couple of months, and we spoke last time around our recruitment policy and what we've done, and especially the front five. The fact that we managed to keep hold of Sam. I know Sam was announced last time we were here, but since then, Alex Craig and Vai Fafita extending their contracts is huge for us. And their willingness and their hunger to stay at the club also is an vindication of where we're going. And these guys are important because from a leadership perspective, what they can deliver, we've seen Vi over the last. You've been fresh to it, but you can see Vi over the last couple of weeks. For example, first session, young Dom Kasuth, who's 17, came up and trained with the first team. Took him aside. He's going through half hour of training with him, personal, tuition, I suppose, is what you call it. But stuff like that we can't buy, And I think those quality players, along with retaining those, are huge for us. And the guys we brought in, experience of Alec Hepburn, who's been big around the scrum. The physicality of someone like Amanus van der Merwe, they're definitely adding. And over the last couple of weeks, we've really had to focus and rely on some of our young talent, young as in 17, 18-year-olds. And the level you can see straight away is their quality bunch, and the level they've brought to training has definitely added to training. The unity we have together has to be important, not just downstairs, but, we made a conscious effort to try and get a bit more of a togetherness around everyone in the organisation, because if we are going to be a smaller group going forward, the strength is in our togetherness, I think, and that counts as well as it's been mentioned before, and you guys and ourselves working together as fans and moving together in that way.
I was well placed when the game went professional in '95. I was head coach of Ebervale. If you remember, the game went to 9 clubs. I coached Ebervale for a number of years. Then I went to work for the Union for 2 years under the hospice of Graham Henry, who saw a young coach and thought he wanted to develop me. I missed coaching, so I then got back into it at Newport. Then the game went regional. We went from 9 clubs to 4 regions. So I worked with the Dragons for 6 or 7 years. Then I left to go to Hong Kong. 12 years, 10 years in Hong Kong, 2 years in Japan, where I managed to link up with the madman Eddie Jones and the now England coach Steve Borthwick. And that's where I experienced and understood what a quality world-class rugby program looked like. And then I was able to take that, lift it, and take it to Leicester with Steve Borthwick. He and I kept very much in touch over the years, and I ended up at Leicester with Steve again, trying to put that world-class program down. And if I can pass on some of that knowledge to Dwayne and the group, I think that'll stand the club in great stead and get this great club back to where it should be. Picking up on Dwayne's point, you're going to be so important for us moving forward. Dwayne talked about, we're a smaller group, and I think the only way this is going to work is if we all pull together. We've held a couple of meetings with the commercial department, the media department, just to explain to the players how important the work that these guys do. we have to all pull together and work in the same direction. I talk about getting the butterflies to fly in formation, and that's very much part of my job here, is to get all the disciplines integrated and working in the same direction. And if we can do that, we'll be back where we belong.
There's a number of guys actually who we identify within that group. Obviously, Sam Costello is one who was growing into that leadership role. A number 10 in all sense, of the word, really. Leads from the front, leads the team in terms of the game plan, the game model, and driving that hard. So he's going to be a big addition to Josh. Sam Losey, in terms of a forward, a senior figure. I think that Sam's a quiet nature guy. I don't know if anybody has come across speaking to Sam. He's very, very quietly spoken in the way he goes about it. But in terms of professionalism, look, Sam's been a professional since he was 14, 15, started off with New Zealand Warriors Rugby League and then moved forward. So in terms of driving that professional element and being vocal this year, over the last couple of months, he's been more vocal than he's been since the time I've been here. So in terms of stepping into that area, I think he's been good. Joe himself, albeit he's not playing, drives a lot of standards for us. He's a tough, abrasive guy as well. So, I'm keen to push him into that leadership role, because I think when he does come back on the field as a 13, I think he's going to be key in driving that next step. And then you've got players underneath, like your Sean Evanses, who are Scarlet through and through, and they love the club and they're driving. We talk about Scarlet's DNA, that's right through him, and he drives a lot of that cultural stuff for us, along with Steph Evans, etc. More of the local Llanelli boys, and we just keep. It's important that we thrive on that as well, because we have to remember our DNA as well.
Lucky enough, I found time to watch the Leinster under-18s Leinster game and the Ospreys up in Bridgend last night, and been very impressed by some of the centres, Dav Jones' boy, the back row. All three of the back row, different players, but Don Basuth goes about his game. He gets everything done. He's not all fancy, just gets things done. Ball carrier, but Ossian Davis, wow, what a player he got in him coming through. When they go up to, are they training with the full squad now on a regular basis?
Yeah. So what we've done, Osh hasn't been in yet. Dom has been in. Dom has been in us. Will Evans has been in with us. So he's going well. He's playing tonight. He's making his debut for Gefnogwyr tonight. So we have had a number of them. Ellis Price is one who's he's a year older than that group, but we have had a number of players in this pre-season, and as we go along, we'll just try and introduce them when we see fit to do so. Because you've got to remember as well, like Dom is 17, Dom Kasuth. He's still in school. He's in his upper six now. Upper six, is that still 6 year 30? Right, upper six. Okay, yeah, exactly. So I know. So he's got another year of school, So I think that, yes, look, I'm with you. I'm 100% excited about a lot of these guys, and but we got to make sure that their development is right. They'll still play college rugby this year. Whether they step up then to play club rugby, be it for say Llangennych, for example, using that as an example, or they step up to play Carmarthen or Gefnogwyr. I think they're good enough to potentially at some point move into that. So it's all a bit of a learning process and the building blocks. But you're right to say that they're and Lee's right. Those boys are working hard, and there's a good group of them, and I'm excited about. And we should be excited about those guys coming through, definitely.
It was great to be in Parma in May, and after the game, the bus went off with all the players' kit, and the players all stayed behind, and we were able to chat to them and mix them. And I remember saying to Dwayne how nice it was to see him with a smile on his face, because it was a fantastic win, and it has been a hard season, and we all know that. But we're all Scarlets through and through. And I think I remember saying to Dwayne when we had the last meeting that we'd be out in Parma because we'll be there supporting the boys. My second point, we're actually going out to Treviso in 4 weeks' time. So my husband and I would be hoping to travel down from Brecon to raid the shop, to buy the new kit, which I assume is what Lee and Dwayne are modelling tonight, and as well as the new actual playing kit. So thank you very much. Diolch.
Back in the day, how did you focus from maybe a season that didn't quite go so well into a new season and a new start? Is it a different perspective? Is it just a matter of luck and putting the work in? Or did it happen by accident?
Yes.
To all those?
We had some indifferent seasons, yes, there's no doubt about that. I mean, it's when you look back at it, and when I first started to play for the Scarlets, in those days, I used to work a 44-hour week in Una Needle Bearings on Lacher Bridge, 8 hours a day, half an hour for lunch from 8 till 4:30, and a Saturday morning. And the Saturday morning was the interesting one because you'd be in on a Saturday morning and you'd be there, and we had in Una Needle Bearings at that time quite a number of Scarlet supporters. And if I was given a job that looked a little bit tricky and they'd be saying, hey, you don't want to be doing that, go and have a sit down for half an hour. And in fairness, I did. But they were great days and great memories, and that's what we've got to think of with these young lads now. We're professionals, totally different from what we were. The game has changed enormously, but it's played on the same size pitch. It's played with 15 players. It's played to be enjoyed. They still want to enjoy it, even though at the end of the day they're there training to make sure that they perform well on a Saturday. But the game of rugby football, the Scarlets' way is to play with some width on the ball, to get the ball, to see the young boys passing the ball along the line.
The ones that stand out for me, then I'll hand over to Dwayne because he's much more proficient in this area. I think the use it or lose it, 30-second scrums, 30-second lineouts, you're getting set up there. It's going to be really important in terms of speeding the game up. And another big one for me is penalty infringement at a scrum. You cannot resettle the scrum. You have to tap and go. Yeah, I think they're the four that kind of jump out for me. I'll hand over to Dwayne for the others.
Typical forward at net scrums and lineouts. I think the one we're doing a lot of work on is the kick retreat. So we've done it a bit over the last year or so. Is when you kick the ball downfield now, you can't stand still, where before last year used to be able to stand still. So you get put on side if someone run 5 meters. If you passed the ball, you were on side, so you could stand as far as if someone kicked over my head to you, I could stand here, wait for you to run 5, and then I could tackle you. But now we have to retreat, so it's going back to when we all played, really. So you have to retreat back, and where Gar would know a winger or someone who's chasing has to put you on side. And I think that will create, hopefully, a bit more, well, I think for us, first and foremost, is discipline. You've got to catch people offside. But for us, it'll create a bit more space, I think, for counter-attack. Now, staying in that kick battle, I suppose, is the key things. You've got to stay in the kick battle, wait for the opportunities, and then we can release our backs into that. So I think that is going to aid a bit more free-flowing rugby. Has it done so far in the Rugby Championship where it has been applied? I'd say South Africa have obviously taken advantage of it. They're playing a lot more with a lot more width now. As much as kick in, wait for your opportunity and then go. So I think that you'll see a lot of that in the game this year. But it's all designed to quicken the game up. One area that probably from a new rules perspective is the breakdown as well. So you can't croc roll by that. You can't move people laterally out of the ruck anymore. So it'll wait to be seen, that'll probably aid a bit more a jackal threat again. So your shorter jacklers Sems will probably it'll be harder to move them. You've got to win that body height against them. So wait to see, I suppose. I think it's all designed to quicken the game up.
Derek mentioned used to enjoy themselves back in the day. It's too, professionalism. They probably don't have as much opportunity to enjoy themselves as players. But culturally, there's a couple of key things that you're still working on with players culturally, and there are a few items in the back of the room they're well worth having a look at later on when we're done. Can you tell us a bit about some of the items in the back of the room, Dwayne?
Yeah, so Antonio brought the idea up about we talk a lot about what the why you play to a lot of the guys when we talk about them in their one-on-ones. You know, what drives them, what do they value, etc. And there's some ideas in the back of mementos really, or memorabilia that's close to the player's heart. It's them boots that they've worn in certain games. Sean's got his Vellinvol tie there, and then Costello's got his kicking tee, which he's had since he's 15. So he's used every game since he was 15. And if you remember, there was a big drama last year when the Ulster game, when some of the Ulster fans stole his kicking tee and took it on the bus, and then Paul Fisher had to go and wrestle it off some Irishmen on the bus. But it's just an idea of, you know, tying into players and understanding the players as well. You know, what's important to them. You know, because we've all got our own stories. We're all from, you know, different parts, and so it's just an idea for us of connecting with each other and trying to understand a bit more on the personal level, because, you know, Derek's mentioned the game is a very, you know, is highly professional now, but still old school values of the game still apply as well, and I think it's important that we keep on to them, and there's just some good examples there, so it's worth having a look before you go and reading a few of those, and leave Costello's tea where it is, if that's all right.
Evening all, as we're coming to the end of the evening, I'll go back to where Derek started, and he did pose a question of what do you think happened 60 years ago, and I got very, very close to putting my hand up because I thought I knew the answer. And it was 60 years ago when I saw my first game in the old Stradia Park. I'm pretty sure it was a West Wales 15 against I think it was Fiji. So I was 8 years old. I was there with my grandfather, and to prove it, an actual photograph appeared in the following week's Llanelli Star, and somewhere in my archives I probably still got it. But since then, this club has played such a massive part in my life, and I'm so grateful for the wonderful memories I've got of this place with all the players and certainly a lot of the supporters here tonight. And all of you on the top table there, thank you for your comments tonight. I'm sure all of us are wishing you the very best for the season ahead. With regards to last season, Dwayne, I must say this of you, it was a difficult season. But in fairness to you, it doesn't matter what the result was, you always fronted up. You answered with honesty and you answered with integrity. And sometimes you must have been boiling at some of the silly games we lost. So I'm wishing you all the very, very best for the forthcoming season. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. Right, we're done. Just to finish, really, thanks to the panel, Derek Cwnnell, John Daniels, Dwayne Peel, Lee Jones. Diolch yn fawr i chi gyd, boys.